Tomb of Saint Nicholas, also known as Santa Claus, discovered under the Byzantine Church in Turkey. The tomb of Saint Nicholas, the inspiration behind Santa Claus, was discovered after archaeologists discovered the remains of an ancient church in Turkey that was submerged by rising sea levels in the Mediterranean during the Middle Ages. The saint, who lived between 270 and 343 AD, is best known for the inheritance money he gave to the poor, and especially for the story of how he gave sacks of gold to three girls to save them from a life of prostitution. Another church was built on the foundations of the old Basilica to protect the tomb of the saint. But recently, archaeologists discovered mosaics and stone floors of the former sanctuary beneath what stands today, leading them to the final resting place of the Saint Nicholas, claiming that Saint Nicholas lived and died in Turkey. And the team also revealed that the same stone pavement found hidden under the layers of sediment was also stepped on by the Christian figure. The Byzantine Church, built on ancient foundations, was a place of worship for Orthodox Christians between the 5th and 12th centuries and is surrounded by the statues of Saint Nicholas. It was also included in the UNESCO World Heritage List in 1982. The ancient church is believed to have been first discovered in 2017 by researchers who conducted an electronic survey beneath St. Nicholas Church, which revealed a gap between the floor and the ground. The team say they may have found the tomb of St. Nicholas but are still working carefully to remove the floor of the Byzantine Church so as not to damage it. Osman Avasa, head of the Antalya Provincial Council for the Preservation of Cultural Heritage, told, "The first church was flooded with the rising of the Mediterranean Sea, and several centuries later the new church was built on it. We have now arrived at the remains of the first church and the ground where the Saint Nicholas stepped," he said. The first floor of the church that Saint Nicholas entered has been found, known for its donations and the charity to the poor. Saint Nicholas was born in the village of Patara to rich parents who died in an epidemic, and the state left his son great wealth. As a devout Christian, Saint Nicholas followed Jesus' teachings to all worldly possessions and give to the poor, and he did. However, these ideas are not presented in the historical documents but are shared in stories. Although he became bishop of Myra in 1st century, he was soon imprisoned by the Roman Emperor Diocletian during a period of persecution of Christians and released under the reign of Constantine the Great. Records show that Saint Nicholas was buried in the church built in his name. But the exact whereabouts of his body have always been a mystery. Researchers now believe that Saint Nicholas was buried in the church of Demre at the time of his death in AD 343, where he lay undisturbed until the 11th century. Previously, it was believed the 1674-year-old remains were smuggled to the Italian city of Bari by merchants in the year 1087. However, Turkish archaeologists now suspect that the wrong bones were taken and the bones that went to Italy belongs to an unnamed priest. He was buried in his church at Myra, and in the 6th century, his temple there became famous. In 1087, Italian sailors or merchants stole his body from the tomb and brought it to Bari, Italy. Nicholas' remains are still kept in 11th century Basilica of Saint Nicola in Bari, although fragments have been obtained from churches around the world. The Byzantine Church was damaged and rebuilt several times in the 8th and 9th centuries, according to the Antalya Heritage Preservation Council. The church was also flooded by the river Demre and eventually buried until it was rediscovered in 1956, and is now a destination for many pilgrims wishing to pay homage to Saint Nicholas. Thanks.